What's going on with y'all? It's Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Ball Sports Network. Thank you guys for the continued support, like and subscribe. Now, this is tough, man. This is the world we're living in with 2020, and it looks like college football is bailing water. They're in a sinking ship, and they're bailing water. And it looks like by this time tomorrow on Tuesday, August 11th, college football could be over. It looks like the college football season looks as if it's going to be canceled for the fall of 2020. I don't know if it'll just be postponed to the spring of 21, but it doesn't look like the reports that I'm reading. It does not look like college football will happen in the fall of 2020. Now, here's the latest. This happened this morning, just a few hours ago. A tweet by Brett McMurphy, a renowned journalist, via the Dan Patrick Show. He says, Dan Patrick reports the Big Ten had an internal vote, 12-2. So there's 14 teams, 14 schools in the Big Ten, 12-2 margin. League members opted on not having a fall football season. Nebraska and Iowa were the only schools that voted to play this fall. Dan Patrick said Big Ten and Pac-12 could cancel their seasons on Tuesday. So think about that. We're talking about two of the Power 5 conferences, the Big Ten and the Pac-12. All of these rumors just started swirling last night, Sunday night, August 9th. So it is so crazy to think that we have come to this conclusion that as early as tomorrow or as early as today, we don't even know. These are just rumors and reports, but as early as today, that the college football season could be canceled for the fall of 2020. And I mean, this is devastating, man. Like, this is truly devastating, but it's understandable. The virus is real. People's lives are being lost. Like, that is real. So I get it. But it just hurts, and it sucks for those players. It sucks for the fans. It sucks for the administrators. But I don't think people are really realizing how financially detrimental losing college football will be for, financially for states, for universities, for athletic programs. Like, without having football, it might just seem like a game to a lot of people. Like, oh, it's just a game. The lives mean so much more, and I get all of that. I get that we don't know the likelihood of these guys, these type of people dying, like young college athletes between 18 and 23 or 24 or whatever. The likelihood of them dying from COVID are very slim to none. But we don't know the long-term health effects. We don't know the lasting health effects. I get all of that. I do. But I just really want everybody to realize how detrimental not having that money flow from athletics, especially college football, the most profitable, the most watched, the most popular college sport in America. Not having that is going to be it's a suicide note for a lot of programs and a lot of jobs in America. Think about this. I'm going to use my school, my alma mater, for an example, Western Kentucky University. Western Kentucky University has done everything, has skinned their teeth trying to stretch dollars. They've cut every loose dollar that they could cut because their budget has been so dwindled because they lost their conference tournament in basketball. This dates back to March. Their conference tournament and any chance they had of playing in the postseason. So they have skinned their teeth, and then they lost everything else, right? And then also just the pandemic just doing whatever it has done to every university. If WKU, who doesn't even have a huge fan base or doesn't even have a huge college football presence, but they get money when they play teams like Indiana, they're going to lose $1.5 million if they already lost their game against the University of Indiana. They were scheduled to play Louisville, but say if college football goes away, that's $1.5 million in the toilet, gone. It's done. There's no getting that back. And then if you don't have a season, you don't get your ticket sales as far as like coming in the stadium. Okay, no fans. You don't get your TV deals or your sponsorships or your advertising dollars or your TV deal. Like, all of that is gone because you don't play a season. You're talking about the 12th out of 14 teams, WKU's in Conference USA, they have the 12th smallest budget. So they're number 12 out of 14 in budget. And you're cutting all of that, people are going to lose jobs. People are going to lose jobs. Guys are going to be disinterested. Guys are going to be out here. Who knows what they're going to be doing if they're not playing football? And I don't want to sound like just football is the end all be all, but there is a lot of money being lost, and there's a lot of jobs being lost. Like there is a lot of like just things that are going to be detrimental. The university is going to lose a lot of money. And that's just not here. And that, I'm just using WKU as an example, but it's going to be the same across the board, everywhere across the country. And man, I don't know, man. It's so sad to see this happening. Like it's literally happening in front of our eyes. College football is going away. It looks like it's not going to happen. And one thing that came out of this that is looking to come out of this is a player union and a player association, because we see tweets and we see things from some of the biggest names in college football: Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, guys from Clemson, guys from Ohio State, all these big time guys that'll be first round picks that are saying this is what we want. They want a voice. There's this hashtag "we want to play" going around all of college football. All of not from the big names to the backups of some of the smallest schools in the country are saying hashtag "we want to play." You can search that hashtag and you'll see thousands of tweets. Literal thousands of tweets from players, coaches, media members, everybody that wants to see college athletics happen this year. Man, I understand that there's a global pandemic taking place. This isn't something that's just minor. Like this is something that's made 30 million Americans have to file for unemployment. Like there has the job, unemployment has surged. It is terrible for our economy. It's taking place. Like states have shut down. They're still, working in phases to reopen, and then they reopen and they go back down. They go from phase 1 to 4 and then back down to 2 or whatever. Like it's happening in our state here in Kentucky, but it's so crazy to think about. Like that they're literally, college football looks like it's on the verge of being canceled for the 2020 season. Now, one thing that will be interesting, like I touched on it a little bit, but I want to touch on it some more, is this player association, this player union, because the players aren't getting any say in this. Essentially, the reason why the conferences want to close, obviously it's because of the pandemic, but they don't want to be, like, none of the Power 5 conferences want to be the last conference to shut it down. It's like a race to not finish last, right? So the Big Ten and the Pac-12 look like they're going to take charge and be the first schools or first group of schools to shut down all football activities to cancel the 2020 season. Well, the ACC or the Big 12 or, none of the last 3 Power 5 conferences want to be the last school or the last group of schools to say, or the SEC to say, okay, now we'll shut down because everybody else not playing. They don't want to look like that. It's just a bad look, right? And that is the main reason why they are considering, and it looks like it's going to happen, going to close down their football seasons. And it all started with the MAC. So last week, obviously, we know the MAC decided to cancel the 2020 football season. And so that, even after all of these Power 5 conferences and these other major conferences sent out their schedule, like they sent out their schedule and they had like their only conference games or their only conference games plus 1 non-conference game. Like all of this happened just last week. And now the tide has made a complete 180 after the MAC, and it's a domino effect. Well, once the MAC did, it's like every other school was like, well, maybe we should consider closing ours down too, because we don't want to be the ones that are last to the party, or we don't want to be the one that has this huge major outbreak and God forbid, knock on wood, that, someone not only contracts the virus, dies. So we don't want to, wear that scarlet letter where we decided to continue to move forward with football activities and someone died from COVID because we were selfish is kind of how they're looking at it. And so that is why they're deciding to essentially shut down the season, man. And it's unfortunate for the players because we have, seniors of guys that'll never get to play again. You got, selfishly, fans will never get to see some of their favorite players, whether it's Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, name your favorite player on your favorite school, on your favorite team. Like, you'll never get to see those guys because they'll declare for the draft and start getting ready for the NFL. And it's just, like I said, but for me, it's the financial impact, and it's the impact of all the jobs that'll be lost, all the budgets that'll be shredded with no college football, all the media members who may lose jobs, the guys for the university universities or guys and gals for the universities that'll lose jobs, and it's just unfortunate, man. It's so sad to really see that this is happening right before our eyes. And it's all due to a global pandemic that to the likes that none of us have ever seen before. It is truly sad, and I hope that you all are out there staying safe and staying blessed, and hug a family member, tell them you love them, because this is severe, man. The pandemic is real. It is serious. I seen my favorite team is the Las Vegas Raiders, and I seen a rookie, the guy we just drafted, Lynn Bowden, just came out and said he lost his grandma. I mean, it is real. The pandemic is real. It is happening across the country, across the world, that people are losing their lives, and it's causing a lot of trauma and pain. And now, real quick before I end this, I just want to touch on that player union association real quick. This is why that is so significant. That is so significant because outside of this pandemic, because it looks like the pandemic is won. It looks like the players have formed this too late. That association, if it comes to pass, and if it becomes a legit thing, like where, because it really looks like it's being spearheaded by Justin Fields, the two biggest names in college football, Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. So they're the guys that'll probably go 1 and 2 in the NFL draft, whether we have a season, and it looks like we won't. Even if we don't have a season, those two guys at quarterback from Ohio State and Clemson have cemented themselves. They're great players. They'll be great players in the NFL. It looks like they're the guys that are spearheading it. But if we don't have a season this year, who is going to pick up that baton, pick up that mantle, and push it forward? That way, I mean, not necessarily a pandemic, but if anything happens, college athletes have a voice with their conferences. They get to dictate, or at least have a bigger impact on what takes place in their sport, right? Like, it's not just these commissioners, these guys in suits back in their $1 million pads making the decisions for the guys who are risking it all on the field. Like, the guys that are risking it all on the field are the players. And then and even more so, also with them are the coaches. So will this player association, will this union be able to withstand, once their two biggest names, if this season gets canceled, once their two biggest names are in the NFL, are professionals, will this rise as something new, a new age in college, not just college football, but college athletics, where the players get to dictate what takes place with them? I think so. I hope so. I'm praying so, that they get a larger voice in what they get to do when they are athletes. But as long as they're amateurs, and as long as they're under the bubble of the NCAA, and each individual conference, whether it's the Pac-12, the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, get to make all their own rules and don't all follow one guideline, and in connection and in conjunction with their players, then we'll continue to have issues in college athletics. So that's all I have to say, man. It's a sad day for me. I'm still holding out hope. My fingers are crossed, but it is not. I'm just a realist. It's not looking good. College football for the fall of 2020 looks like it's going to be canceled. And if it moves to the spring of 2021, you're going to miss your biggest stars, because they're going to be preparing for the draft, and there's no point of risking getting injured. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Ball Sports Network. Thank you guys for watching. Continue to hit the thumbs up button, like, and subscribe. I know this was a longer video, but I just had a lot to say. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.